don't like to hear yourself. You don't like to.
Well, you talk.
You put it on. Very cool.
I did it.
I mean, I didn't want to force you.
Gunpoint. The mic just picks it up from here.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like this.
You can if you want. If you want to help the podcast, but you could also just be comfortable and not give.
Ghost just put my headphones off.
A ghost?
You guys have a ghost here.
Who's that?
I don't know. I didn't get that much information from it.
I don't like ghosts.
You don't sense it?
I don't want to go.
My friend had an apartment, and I was like, in Toronto, and I was like, I always feel weird in this place. I always feel weird. And he's like, you keep saying that. Why? And then after 3 months, he's like, I did get the place cheap because a guy murdered 2 children in there. So I got a sense.
That's amazing for him.
It was
but very terrible for
It was
those
right
kids.
beside an ice cream shop that closed down right after.
I would assume that the ice cream would start tasting.
He picked them up from the ice cream shop.
And then he murdered them.
Kept them in the closet. What? This is.
Which part of Toronto is this?
Lansdowne and Dufferin, but no, east of that. Lansdowne, between Ronsonville and Dufferin on Lansdowne, I think.
I don't know Ronsonville, but I know where Dufferin is. Alright. Is that near like...
I don't think it's a statement on the neighborhood. It was just one lunatic.
Doesn't the value of housing go down when like...
Yeah, he got the place cheap, and I kept being like, this place, I get a weird vibe here. And he's like, I didn't want to mention it.
On that note...
And weirdly, I didn't feel uncomfortable after. Because I feel like there's death everywhere, right?
Well, when someone passes away from old age...
Everything built on human suffering.
It's my cup.
I felt it, and it was just hot water.
Yeah.
You're just drinking hot water?
Yeah, it's super cool. I love hot water. It's boiled and it's...
Is it actually just boiled water?
Yeah, I just I have a zojirushi. It's like a Japanese hot water boiler, and it just keeps the water warm, like after you boil it. It's basically a kettle.
There's a different way to boil water in Japan?
They just probably do it way better.
How does it work?
It just turns on and it just keeps it warm as long as it's plugged in.
Oh, so it's just always ready on the go, like a diner?
I guess so. It's in the shape of an elephant. You just press it and the thing comes out.
Is the trunk up or down?
It's hanging down.
Oof.
You don't want it to...
You never heard that trunks down on an elephant is bad luck for a home? You always want the trunk up.
It's bad luck?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's probably what I sensed when I came in.
But you know what? Black cats are supposed to be bad luck.
Oh, that's true, but they're amazing.
Just because they're black? That's fucked up.
I love all cats.
I want to just talk more about the murder houses.
Yeah, the worst was then this guy moved in upstairs and he worked at a law office. And he'd always come down and talk, and he's like, I got the file on the thing. He's like, I've been reading it, and it's 30 pages, and he's like, it's so detailed. Like, it talks about, like, when they went to McDonald's. I was like, I don't want to hear this. Then I was like, why did this guy even move in here?
How did you know about the
murders?
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't my place. It was my friend Lord Gordon's.
Okay. Oh, you just went there and it was weird. I saw something.
I went to his house all the time because we were always working on stuff.
And he told you.
I don't know how he knew. I don't know if he like searched it or something. I feel like the landlord wouldn't be like, I gotta tell you, or maybe you have to tell the people.
Yeah, probably. He'd be like, he'd probably explain the amenities first. Like, so there's a washroom, there's your kitchen, standard kitchen. By the way, a murder happened here last year, and the floors are really good because it absorbs all the sounds.
You got a nice walk-in closet here. Bodies were kept in it, and over here. What did you say?
You just have to address it.
I said it's a walk-in closet.
You gotta keep selling the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's the professional way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the unprofessional way would be to say, Hi, welcome to Murder House 99.
But then there's people who love murders that would go purposely. Aren't there like people who love going to sites of serial killers and?
I guess so. Now that you said that,
What if there are tons of people who go to the Manson trials?
Oh,
I don't like that stuff.
they have like a bag. They have like a bag of popcorn just for ready, super ready.
Did people eat at the Manson trial?
I don't.
Were
Probably
they
not.
selling
I don't think you
snacks?
can have like.
You can't have food in court.
You can't have like a.
The law.
Get your porn cups, you know, your popcorns, you know, your corn pops.
The whole interview, you're just gonna hear this.
It's alright. That's the way you wanna be interviewed.
This is why you need the headphones on, so you can hear the amplification of a San Pellegrino cap.
It's Heartless. It's your name. Your
My
sound
name's Hart,
medium.
not Les. I just
No.
put Les on Facebook once a long time ago.
No, but that's your stage name.
It's just my name, Hart.
Yeah. But it's your.
The
you.
Les part, I'd rather no one even mentioned.
But that's you now, man.
It is just it.
You've already pigeonholed yourself in this.
I don't like to correct people.
Alright. When did you start doing comedy?
My whole life's been a joke.
Do you consider yourself a comedian?
Yeah?
I
You
personally hate saying it.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of like, you know,
Are
it's
you
kind
ever in an argument with someone and you're like, I know more about comedy because I'm a comedian?
I used
and then
to.
someone says, you don't get paid to do it. You
What?
used to say that? You used to argue with people?
What is comedy? You know, just because you get paid, you're a comedian.
I was thinking about this the other day. One time I was like in a bar.
Yeah.
And I saw this like guy on a busy dance floor, and he was saying things to people, and everyone would be like throwing their heads back in laughter. And I was like, "There's no way he's saying anything that funny under this loud music." But you always just see people laughing all the time, right?
Yeah.
But so is everyone talking to them a comedian?
Exactly. I think
Is what makes someone laugh what makes it good? Because everything makes people laugh. Even just nervousness.
I think it's like you're a comedian by if you make people laugh. In that moment, you are that comedian.
Then babies are the best comedians.
But they don't know they're killing. They don't know that they're doing well. They just are.
I feel like we've talked about enough about children and murder.
You're just so committed. Oh, you brought it back.
Oh no,
You-
babies killing.
Yeah, bro.
Now this is.
Ba-
Now the babies are killing. That's okay.
Unless you're like a midget comedian, then you could, you could have half of that. You could, you could be funny.
Well, now we're getting into the scientific math of comedy. I have to get all technical.
Whatever. I think whatever
You-
keeps you alive.
You used to say to people like you felt like you were an authority on comedy because you did comedy.
No, I don't know. I don't know anything.
I know.
You just do enough, and then you're like, "What the hell am I
As you
doing?"
get older, you realize every opinion you have is wrong.
But you
I
value.
thought I knew everything when I was young.
But you value other people's opinions now, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I just totally love listening to what other people have to say. Like, if they know a little bit, they know a little bit.
Even sometimes it's entertaining when people don't know anything.
Yeah, then you just
and
let
they're
them go on.
talking even more.
Have you ever seen, like, those films where the actors be comedians and shit?
Yeah.
Like the
There's-
punchline?
Is that with Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
Man, I watched the first half of that like a month ago.
Yeah.
But I think he actually did stand up at one point before he started, because then he was on Bosom Buddies.
Is that
It's
like,
a sitcom,
yeah.
and I feel like it's possible he did stand up before that. Maybe not. Maybe he did stand up to practice for the punchline. Honestly, I started watching the punchline, and what is it? It's like 88, right?
I think
With Sally
it's like
Field?
an 80s film, yeah.
Because I'd watched a movie with Sally Field where she plays someone with 35 multiple personalities.
Holy shit.
But I just watched a documentary before on someone with 35 multiple personalities. Oh, he's 35.
Is that the magic number?
Yeah. No, I think the documentary was on people with 30, or a woman with 35 multiple personalities. And then the Sally Field one was for someone with 16, I think. Well, there goes all your dick socks.
My clothes just fell over. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go get
But the
that.
punchline at the very beginning, it shows all the different comics in the club doing like the setups to their jokes. And it shows like 7 different ones. And I was like, it's basically the same as every joke now. One's like, here's my impression of a thing, and then it was an absurd impression. I've done a joke like that.
Just to let people know, my clothes were hanging outside and my girlfriend's socks fell over. That's why he said dick socks.
Oh, they really were your socks?
No, they're my girlfriend's socks.
Oh.
Yeah. They're
It
not.
was the
They're
neighbor's
not
stuff.
like that. That I wouldn't. I wouldn't put socks on my.
Why do you put them on your neighbor's side?
Oh, I didn't.
Is your
It was just
girlfriend
the
your
sun.
neighbor?
The sun was there. The sun was in that area, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the sun.
Chasing the sun.
That's
what burned Icarus.
Okay, I'm kidding. They're my dick socks. They're colorful. You never see socks that are see-through. They're always colored.
See-through socks.
You got time to color your socks before you sell them?
Is that a real thing? See-through socks, like plastic or rubber?
No, like you don't.
Oh, you color them yourself?
No, I'm just saying
It's
like
like
socks. They could, like what if they were see-through?
What material though?
Something synthetic from the
It
future.
would have to be like
From-
rubber. Invisible cotton.
You don't appreciate what you have until it's gone.
Until it's invisible?
Yeah, until- like the colors on your socks.
Like yourself? Oh man. What if you could make anything invisible, what would you make invisible? In the world, like what's a thing where you're like, I hate having to see this?
Probably my receding hairline. I don't know.
But that's just baldness. You can make it more invisible. That's like the wrong way you want to go. Or wait, is it invisible with hair?
Probably ghosts and demons. I don't want to.
That's not invisible. That's hidden under a thicket.
Under another dimension.
Mm-hmm. The hair dimension.
When there's a hairline
show where it was like inside the body of a fish, and it was like there's the first dimension, the second dimension, the third dimension, the fourth dimension, and now enter the fish dimension.
No.
And then everything would take place in a fish, a golden trout.
Okay. And
I tried to pitch it to some of the top networks.
And
I got the meetings.
You
I got
very
all the
far.
meetings.
You got very, very.
And they were with me up to the 4th part, and then as soon as I said fish, like, we're out.
They got you got them.
I kind of wanted to do something like the Twilight Zone, but
The
no,
Shark
there's that
Tank.
Return of the Twilight. Do you ever see like a show? You're like, that was that show I was gonna do. Even though there was no chance you were ever gonna do it.
No.
But now they're bringing back the Twilight Zone. I was like, there goes my fish dimension.
But
thing.
it's amazing to say that. It's fun to say it.
To say that you're ahead of the curve
I thought of that. You know, it's
all the time.
the quickest quickest way to get rid of pain and suffering. Like I did that before.
True. But what I find doing comedy what's tough is sometimes watching comedy. Like, if you watch a show, like just like a sitcom show, someone will just as a throwaway joke in a scene that's not even part of the scene. They just say in one line, and you're like, oh fuck, that was my joke that I thought was good, and now it's just ruined. So every time you're watching anything, you're half enjoying it, half waiting for something that you like to be ruined or that you were doing. Do you ever feel
You okay? Sorry, you got to repeat that again. You're saying like if someone says,
once you do comedy, before you could just watch things all the time
Yeah.
and just enjoy it. But now when you have your own ideas, every time you're watching something, you're half enjoying it, half waiting for one of like something you were trying to think about ends up being done in that thing. So now it's almost like painful watching things because it feels like a little dagger. You're like, fuck that, there goes that.
Could be, but
so being like ahead of the curve, it's not ahead of the curve, but having parallel thinking to something kind of like so instead of being able to say, I said that first, you just can't ever say it anymore.
I feel
taken
like,
from you.
I feel like you shouldn't be
thinking like that.
Looking at it that way. You should be watching in order to write.
Learning from stuff all the time?
Yeah, you should only be watching it for the sake of learning.
That's interesting. One time there was like an
Or
unreleased Carlin album, but I had this idea. I was like, every song is the same. It's all just love songs. Like, how many fucking ways do you need to say the same thing? Like, why not say something different? I can't remember. I had a different thought on it.
Yeah, it's like...
And then I listened to this unreleased Carlin album, and he had a whole joke about the same thing, but his was 8 million times better. So that was like... You can kind of learn to see how someone who had the same thought as you, but as someone who's far more experienced and a veteran, how they took your simple idea and made it a bigger thing, and I would have not done any of the things he did.
Well...
So in a way, you learn from it.
I think it's about levels of complexity. How many levels can you add to it? Like, how many ways do you think it can go? Like, So... I used to work at a crappy IT sales company, and they were like, you gotta give the best sales scenario, like the best, and then...
you just call people with a scenario, like,
yeah.
There's a bomb in the house, you got 20 minutes, your wife is 1 mile away, your kid is 2 miles away, this is the scenario. Are you going to buy with us, or are you going to shop with a second-rate IT company?
Exactly. Okay, well, that is a very fun way to look at it. But basically, so what I did, they were like, okay, and the winner's going to get like $50, you know, like, and it was just...
50 books?
Yeah, 50
books?
dollars. And then, this is, and so everyone's like...
You get 50 pages of homework.
It's like, you know the movie Boiler Room with Tom... Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's like a sales thing, right?
Yeah.
Is Alec Baldwin in that?
I don't know.
Or no,
I think that's a book.
Ribisi? Giovanni Ribisi in that?
Oh, I fucking remember this shit. But anyhow, so what I did was I just talked to one of my friends in the company, and I was like, so we worked on the pitch together. And then after that, I worked on it with another person. And after that, I worked on it again by myself. So I had the most complex answer compared to anyone. And I beat out like 20 other people. But I got fired right after. But
Lord of the scenario. Why'd you get fired? Did you say that? Did you say, you see my scenario?
Because I won the competition, but I got fired like...
You got too big.
I got fired like a month after because they were like, this guy sucks. He's only good for fantastical
You're just
scenarios.
strutting around.
But yeah, I think possibly, you know, the more you learn, then the more complex the way you might look at it, you know, and
yeah, true.
Kind of like how many layers can you add to that?
It's true. You can learn from everything, right? You should never get.
It's kind of like.
But I find that it is a weird. The more you do something, you go into something. I'm sure this has been said a million times, but the more you do something, you go into something because you enjoy like comedy, watching it, and then the more you do it, I feel like you watch less a little bit.
It's kind of like it becomes either your love or your job.
You definitely watch it differently.
Yeah. It's like
still try to watch it.
It's like, do you want to make this your career or do you just want to have fun with it?
I like going backwards. I like watching older things.
Yeah, after you've...
Well, it seems... it's always interesting watching older things. Like the punchline. Did you like the punchline?
I saw it and I was like...
I didn't even finish the movie. It
wasn't even...
cheesy.
I liked Funny People. Remember that film?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like how they're kind of like, oh, Sandler says to Rogan, he's like, did your parents divorce? And then he's just like, yes. And then he's like, all right, you'll be funny or something.
You can be funny
yeah,
then? You're broken.
Yeah.
You're broken enough inside to make people laugh. You think you need to be broken to make people laugh? Are you broken?
Absolutely. I'm okay.
You're okay?
Yeah, I'm like, I had my
you're
parents.
Perfect. I'm perfect.
I didn't have my dad for like 5 years, but like
only 5 years. But what do you mean? He came back.
I saw him after. He was stuck in Asia. But
this he was like stuck in the subway. Just between stops for 5 years. Yeah, right. I'm really gonna believe that. He was stuck in Asia.
Yeah. He was stuck in Malaysia because we moved
in Malaysia.
Here. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, will I be good? I don't know.
What 5 years?
Yeah.
But like what 5 years?
When I was 15 to 20.
Oh shit.
So I was like, I'm gonna be the worst,
an adult,
worst person ever. That's what I was saying.
That was your goal? Like, just the most terrible human being. Fuck you, Dad. I'll show you being trapped in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Do you think he was trapped there, or he's just living it up, and he's like, they won't let me leave, and he's at parties every night?
No.
Trying to silence. He's on the phone.
He was, because I went to visit him after, and it was like, it wasn't very good.
It was a bad scene?
Yeah. So maybe my comedy might be good. I don't know.
Do you think that's what makes your comedy?
No, I think everyone has different, like,
ups and downs.
You could be like super grounded and super middle class and like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know any? I mean, the best comics I know, I don't really know much about their family.
Yeah.
But like, as long as you can keep doing it and like you make some cash or you get some credits or, you know, whatever keeps you going.
If everything just came from the same place, everything would be the same, and then it would be boring, right?
Yeah. Not everyone's supposed to make it in stand-up.
I find usually people who think only comedy can come from broken places are people that are broken. Like they just like things like them.
Yeah.
Right? It's not, their comedy might not even be for someone else.
We're also in like Canada, so like,
how bad can it be?
I always shit on where we're from, you know.
You don't like Canada?
I don't.
You don't have like a Canadian pride?
I'm Canadian, but
I know, but you don't have like a overflowing pride for it? I don't. I like Canada.
I don't think it's good for comedy though.
No? You mean the society of Canada or the business side of it?
I think like there's probably like how many provinces do we have? Like 8?
I don't know. I don't know geography at all. I'm not a very good Canadian.
Let's just say we had 8,
okay.
And then in every province there's like 3 comedy clubs.
Uh-huh.
So we have 24 comedy clubs.
Total in Canada. And you can't get up on any one of them.
Yeah. And then there's like...
Why do you think that is? Just Canadians don't like comedy?
I think it's a good state.
Or is it just bad marketing? I don't know any. Have you ever done comedy in the States?
No.
I've never done comedy anywhere but Montreal.
I ate shit in Malaysia. I did some shows there. I saw some shows in Hong Kong. I saw a show in New York. But I've done like Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal. Like,
yeah,
I've done a lot of the open mics and I did some of the clubs. And I was like, whatever. But if we did comedy like we did hockey,
That's what I mean. The marketing of it just isn't like marketed properly. Or...
I think comedy in general is always a shit show. It's always like you
so there's like smaller comedy things. I guess Just for Laughs is like the biggest thing, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But that's marketed as Americans coming here, kind of, right?
Yeah.
I think, right? Like people going to Just for Laughs aren't like going to see Canadian comedy. They're going to finally see comedy that's not Canadian, right? Nobody seems excited to see Canadian comedy. But isn't there like big festivals on the East Coast?
Like the Winnipeg and...
Yeah, I always remember being young and always on the Comedy Network. It was always like...
Comedy Now.
Like, yeah. And actually, do you remember all those Comedy Now specials?
Yeah. I remember seeing that and I was like, oh, I want to do that.
That's what got you, the Comedy Now?
I just saw I saw people doing it, and I used to go to the Yuck Yucks website, and I was just like, I'm gonna
Toronto?
do
You
this.
lived in Toronto, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna do this shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't, because I was too busy being an idiot.
Being diabolical,
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to be the most terrible human being.
Exactly. So I don't think I just think there's a limited amount of spots. That's it. There's nothing else.
In the country?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why people are doing
26 shows for how many people in Canada?
20 maybe 28
How many comedians
clubs.
do you think there are in Canada?
I know on the Toronto comedians Facebook page there's 2,300 members.
2,000. So let's say 15,000 in all of Canada. 20,000? 20,000 comedians in all of Canada and 26 venues?
Yeah, but there's festivals now and shit.
Have you ever done a festival?
I did a Fringe.
I've never even filled out a form for anything in my life. I tried to get welfare once. I was like, because at first I tried to get an art grant, and that's impossible. And I was like, well, what if I just get welfare and do art with it? Isn't that the equivalent of an art grant? And then I couldn't even figure those forms out. I couldn't even get welfare. I was like,
dude, you're putting class on your art, man.
Yeah, that's. I remember my one friend was like, never mention welfare, it'll follow you for life. It's like, what the hell? So then I wanted to get it more, and I still couldn't get it. Fuck.
It's just
that's my goal.
You just need a grant guy or girl, and they just help you.
That's what I think the key is, right? You hire a grant writer. I don't know how...
You don't need to hire. You just ask
Oh, you find someone?
Yeah, there's I know a few people.
Oh yeah? Have you ever gotten a grant for that documentary you're doing?
Yeah, I got a grant.
You did, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah?
Quebec is good for grants.
Do you speak French?
Absolutely not.
That's the most inspiring thing I've heard.
My girlfriend is the master of languages.
Did she help you with the grant?
Absolutely.
100%. And you just have her socks knocked over in the yard.
I'm gonna have to rewash those.
You just fell in a pile of dirt.
You gotta fix the clothes hanger thing.
Want an olive? Anchovy stuffed olive?
I don't know.
Man, it's this new thing I discovered. I didn't discover it. My girlfriend showed me it. I always hated olives.
That's a grape, and that's a...
This is the olive. This is the grape. It's like Russian roulette.
And then you have what's the anchovy?
The anchovy's in the olive. But if you eat this first, it's like a strong taste, and then when you eat the grape after, it's incredibly sweet.
Is this
I used to hate olives until 2 days ago, but so eat the olive first. And it's pretty salty, right? But now put the grape in and watch how sweet it is. It's like the sweetest grape you've ever eaten. No?
Yeah, that's good.
It's pretty good. That I've been training myself to like olives because I'm going to Italy next Saturday.
For how long? Forever.
Like 6 years. I've returned tickets for 6 years and 3 days. I'm trying to book shows for when I come back.
Cool.
I'm on the waiting list. One of the 26 places. I'll be back in 6 years. Can you squeeze me in? Sorry, all booked up.
Are you gonna do shows there? You're gonna.
I don't think so. I'm going with my family and my girlfriend.
That's nice.
For like 8 days.
Oh, okay. You know, when you said 8, I was like, oh.
I do want to go see Cinecita.
I thought you were gonna say 8 years.
Yeah, right. Have you ever been to Europe? I've never been to Europe. I'm pretty excited.
I've been when I was a kid.
What? Like how young?
7, 8.
Where'd you go?
We went to England, France, Germany.
I feel like England doesn't count as Europe. Okay.
Yes.
I consider the UK and then the rest of Europe. I have no interest in going to the UK.
When I was a kid, we had a chance to go to the Louvre or or Eiffel Tower, and raining, so I went to the Eiffel Tower.
You went to the. It's always tough though. I don't feel like I would appreciate things when I was young.
It was cool. I remember it.
Oh yeah.
But the thing I remember the most was having onion soup.
French onion soup?
Yeah.
But they probably don't call it French onion soup.
It was just like legit. On the menu, it was like legit onion soup.
Real deal onion soup. And you liked it?
Fucking blew my mind.
Really? Is that where like the bread's in it? Isn't it like bread and melted cheese kind of in the onion soup, and the bread gets soggy and then it kind of all comes together?
It was crazy. I still think about that. Yeah.
Do you eat it now?
I never made it at home, but
like you've gotten it at other places.
Yeah.
Has it compared?
In Quebec, not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Yeah.
Acceptable.
Pretty
Acceptable
good.
Substitute.
The escargot there was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like.
Do you you can get like the canned snails?
Yeah.
I've never gotten those though. I love seafood. I guess snails not seafood. Is it? I'm always surprised that there's like canned like shrimp and canned crab, and I put canned snails in that same like category of like what? You can buy these in cans?
Yeah.
They're kind of like high class foods in a can.
So their value has plummeted dramatically.
I always find they're still expensive, but you're paying like it's still like $8 for a thing of canned.
That is
You
true.
just check your watch.
That is true.
Is this snail story gonna keep going on? Can this snail story go any longer about canned snails?
It's talking about so much. We should totally just have food to taste every time.
Want some watermelon?
I feel so bad because this is my house and you're just eating.
On the subway, I brought these, and I put my bag down on the subway, and I lifted it, and there's a huge puddle, and I'm like, please be the watermelon juice. So I'm on the subway taking everything out, and it was obviously the olive juice that had poured all over my bag and was leaking out, and then the stink of olives. You know when people have like Subway French fries from McDonald's, and you're like,
Nothing wrong with that.
I think it makes you want McDonald's. You're always like,
You could just.
I've been eating healthily, and now this pod's on. McDonald's fries, French fries.
Yeah. Watch. I mean, you could just have people come onto the subway and just advertise by eating. You could pay people to do that. You could just.
Do you think they pay people to eat McDonald's on subways? Honestly, that would be a pretty good marketing technique. I imagine just going around with a bag of like hot fries in public places increases McDonald's sales. Fucking look at this scenario you came up with. You are a scenario master.
By five people at a time, they're reaching their audiences.
Probably better than like a TV commercial, because who watches TV? Only the geriatric. They're not going to get up and go to McDonald's.
Who has TV these days?
That's what I'm saying. Only the ancient. Future fossils.
Steve Rogers.
Do you have cable?
No, we have like Netflix and
Any comic book movies with cable in it?
with cable. No, we don't.
Who's cable a part of?
The X-Men.
Oh yeah, the X-Men.
No, he's not. He's like he's just this dude that act. He's kind of like your friend that you don't really hang out with, but like
He's just an electrician. He was their electrician. He was a muscly electrician.
he comes around every 2 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
You know that guy. He has some weird job. He's like the
He
Mike.
fixes the lights so the Human Torch can take a break.
Does he?
Yeah, he's an electrician. That's matter.
That's why his name's
Yeah.
Cable.
Yeah. He's got a lot of cables. He's like, they're in the truck.
For some reason,
Have you ever seen the truck cable?
the truck cable.
Yeah, he's got a good truck filled with cable.
I feel like he
You
would
need a
be.
cable, he's got it.
They all look the same anyway.
All superheroes?
Most
Just
of
one
them.
big muscle?
Cable, if you just fill him with aluminum or metal, he becomes Colossus. You'd cut his hair.
I'd like to see something where it was just big, like one big muscle, like distorted muscle with eyes on it, just like. Oh, muscle man.
What do you think about AI writing shows for us?
Have you ever seen those scripts that the
Oh.
bot makes?
Yeah.
They're amazing. They're like the funniest things I've ever read.
So random.
The randomness is there's one on like Dr. Phil, and that was the first one I ever read, and it was like the funniest thing I've ever read.
Mm-hmm.
I'm for it. What's the time? What's our schedule at?
I think we gotta pause it. I think that's
Camera
it.
battery? You don't
Sorry?
have an AC adapter?
No, our battery's good. You still got another hour.
Hour!
Yeah, you can just keep at it if you want.
I feel like you just want to get out. I'm
Yeah,
good to
yeah,
stop
we're
if
good.
you want to stop.
Yeah, we're done.
Fuck
I mean,
it.
I'm listening. You guys had some good stuff in there, you know, like little discussions on creativity. Interesting. Where it comes from. Vay's life. Vay opening up on camera. Go Vay.
Is that the most intimate you've ever gotten on camera?
No.
About the true Vay?
I have a
No, I got
I have
way more
I
intimate
got a
stuff.
film about jerking off. Yeah.
I was watching these old Spike Milligan clips yesterday, and he had a line I liked. He's like, "Sorry, I'm not feeling quite myself today. I'll be doing that later." God damn it.
Thanks for coming out today.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking to
No, we're good.
the millions of people. I just made a
you have any
stab on my... Oh, man.
Do you have any
Shows to plug?
yeah.
All 26 comedy clubs. I don't know. To plug? Hart and George, I do comedy. My comedy partner George. We have a show at Biff Tech every second Sunday.
Cool.
What that second Sunday is a mystery. Look up Hart and George Comedy on Facebook. Hart and George Comedy. We do sketches. We have some videos. Got lots of stuff.
Nice.
A cat show we want to do more of in the oncoming future. Go to Hart and George Comedy on Facebook for all those updates.
Cool.